picked up some bagels and brought them down to El Cajon to my mom's house. So I'm here with them having breakfast and hanging out for a bit, seeing the dogs.
Dude, that's what's dope, man. That's what's dope. I never obviously had the pleasure of coming in and only coming in town for 2-3 days with against the Anaheim Angels when we were at the Blue Jays.
Mm-hmm.
You get to stay home, go home, see your family. You can hang out, have cookouts if you want to after day game.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, man.
That's the thing. It's there's definitely, when I got traded to San Diego, I was super excited. I mean, this was my dream, man, to get a chance to come back and play here. But, I knew there's a lot of distractions that come with that and a lot of, things that can get you sidetracked with playing at home, with not only, your friends and all those distractions, but being so close to family and, having that be like, a fallback and a sense of comfort where if you're on the road and you're by yourself, you're a little bit more dialed in. You don't always have those things to comfort you and stuff. So trying to balance it the best I can, but it's definitely a blessing, man, to be able to be this close to family. Should, knock on wood, should anything go wrong, I'm close enough to be here. And, it's not like I'm across the country stressing about things at home. So it's really nice.
Shoot, I know that feeling. I'm sure Josh knows that feeling of getting to go to your hometown where you grew up. Just the amount of ticket
oh man
and I can just imagine now playing at home. But I mean, when I would come for 2-3 days, it was an absolute mess, and it can definitely you can get a little bit sidetracked by it. But that's cool, man. That's cool. Again, thanks for joining us. A little bit of what we do here is just we love to talk shop and your journey a little bit and growing up and about baseball. Was it your first love and all that good stuff? So yeah, man. Josh?
Joe, congratulations, dude. That's something that can never take away from you. But what I'm more impressed with is that you have beer for life. I read an article. I think that's more my speed. I wish I would have landed that.
Dude, that's got to be one of the coolest perks I've ever gotten in my life, and one of the coolest ones for any guy, man. To get free beer anywhere, but from a company like Ballast Point, that's as well known as they are and as high up in the beer game as they are. I was extremely, extremely grateful for that. And
are they naming it after you?
I don't know, man. We haven't talked about that. There's actually a handful of breweries that have reached out to me to try to make a beer or get me to partner with them. There's just been so many cool perks, man. And I'm not sure it would have been the same had it been for any other organization, but the fact that I come home and I'm from San Diego and this organization's never had a no-hitter. And so early on in my career with the Padres, it happened. It just, a lot of things, kind of fell in line with this.
So the deal is for the beer, from what I read, is Ballast Point has these cards and they give it to you. So Joe can go to any Ballast Point, wherever they're at. Like there's one in Long Beach, one in San Diego, and he can just show him his card and they give him a free beer for life.
Yeah. So I assume that it's whenever I go there, I can sit down and have something to eat and have a couple beers, and they'll just kind of put it on the house. Maybe be able to slide in. And what I'm thinking, I was talking to my dad last night, is if we're having a team party or hosting something, maybe they'll shoot a keg our way or something.
Oh yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, you believe they will.
Dude, you made history in San Diego. The local kid doing it, first no-hitter in Padre history, and everybody's talking about it. And it could have been anybody else, but because it was you, they have to. There's a mural of Joe Musgrove going up on the wall, right?
Yeah, dude. I'm actually gonna go by and see it today. I haven't seen it yet, but it's at my high school. They did it on the side of the art building. So I mean, that's another thing that's cool. I mean, I'll just be remembered at my high school, forever. I was already somebody that those players had looked up to, and I spend a lot of time back there whenever I am home in the off season, working out with the guys and just trying to share a little bit of knowledge and experience that I've had. And they respect me a lot. They treat me really well there. They always welcome me in and give me whatever I need and open the facilities if I need it. So I've been really close to them, but now it's cool to be memorialized at that school and have my own mural on the wall.
All right, now Josh,
I have a question.
Rick, real quick, Rick. Joe,
okay.
You've been giving some great answers. They're all smooth and professional. Stop that. Just talk to us now. All right. Get all the professional stuff. We got all the professional ones out of the way. That's cool. That's great. Your agent's going to love the answer. Now just be Joe Musgrove, the dude that we know and love, man. Fuck all the other boys. Just be Joe now.
I just want to know what he's getting the catcher, because our boy Josh Thole is still waiting for his get. If you don't, I'm sure you know, Joe, Josh caught the first no-hitter in Mets history.
Oh shit, did you really?
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm still waiting for my watch. So if anybody has Johan's address, let me know.
Dude, that's what I was telling my agent yesterday. I was like, I have a few things set that I don't want to drop on here yet in case he hears it because I haven't given it to him. But I wanted to try to get something unique. You know, I mean, a watch is cool. Everyone loves a nice watch, but I feel like everyone's always getting the guys watches. I wanted to try to think of something unique that I can get him that's, you know, that he would remember me for. You know, so
sure. Hey, supposedly Johan was going to do a painting. I don't know if Vernon Wells' dad still does all the paintings, but he does those cool paintings. Like when you go through Texas, I don't know, the old ballpark always had the paintings on the wall.
Yeah.
I said that would be cool. He said it was done. And I've given him my address about every other week. Still waiting for my painting too, Johan, if you're listening.
It's fun. Okay. I mean, no, now that you say that, I've reached out to my guy, and I don't know if Vic will see this, but he's going to get the painting anyway. I had a guy in Pittsburgh that did a bunch of artwork for my house, and there was a picture of me and Vic celebrating on the field right after the last out was made, where he's like jumping and I'm catching him in the air, and you see the scoreboard in the background, and the fans are going crazy. So I got a really cool picture being painted right now, big canvas one that'll be sent out to San Diego, and then I'll get him, you know, something a little flashier alongside with that.
That's professional, Joe. I love that.
Yeah.
Now for you grew up in San Diego, Joe, and you were drafted by the Blue Jays. What was that like when you were drafted by the Jays? Were you just like,
dude, I was
the Blue Jays, or did you think you were going somewhere else?
No, I thought so. There was a couple teams. It was like the Padres, the Blue Jays, and the Rays. They all had like a handful of picks on that first day, and they were like kind of like back to back, like picks 40 through like 49 or something, where all those three teams just one after another with all the sandwich picks. And my godfather, who had been acting as my agent during the time, I didn't use an agent for the draft. He was like, these are the three teams that have been real hot on you. So if you do end up going on this first day, it's probably going to be somewhere in this window here between 40 and 50. And Toronto had been at every one of my high school games, man. Like they didn't miss anything. They were at workouts, every game, road game, home game. So I knew they were pretty big on me. And, you know, I obviously wasn't expecting to go in that first round until the call came like 30 seconds before the pick was made. So that all happened super fast, but I was super stoked to be with Toronto. I mean, I was excited to be playing regardless and to go in the first round. But then I get there, and then you were leading that staff at the time, man. So like, I just always envisioned like getting there and being able to compete with you guys. And I think JP was catching at the time. It was just a good team. And I was super, and we had so many prospects in that minor league system, dude, with like Syndergaard, Aaron Sanchez. We had Justin Nicolino.
It was all them.
I mean, there was just so many guys. And then I think in that same year in 12, I mean, a majority of us got traded off and went different directions. But I loved it there, man. I didn't get to spend a ton of time. I never actually made it up to Toronto or even to Vancouver for like the short season team. But that was a place that I really enjoyed playing, a good organization for sure.
Where were you,
Joe? Did you meet Ricky at all? Did you go to the big league camp?
Yeah, so I don't know if he remembers. We went to a movie one night, like me, you, JP, and then like a couple other guys. I can't remember who was all there, but you guys took a couple of us younger guys out to a movie. And dude, I was 18 at the time. I was like fucking terrified. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Like, so I don't think I even said shit to Rick. Like I was almost like kind of starstruck at the time. But I actually got to see, you know, Rick, last offseason, 2 off seasons ago during the winter meetings in San Diego, and we got to have a good talk and like actually catch up and stuff. So, but I'll never forget that, man. And I was pretty young. That was my first time like an older guy had grabbed me and taken me out to do something. I thought it was so cool. I mean, it might not have seemed that way because I was fucking terrified, but it was really cool for me.
Rick, do you remember that?
Nah, man. I honestly,
dude, dude, it was in like Florida during like spring training.
The AMC down there on the big one, that the one theater there in that
right
area.
Yeah.
But you would do that for young kids, right?
What's that? I remember a little bit. Huh?
You would do that for younger kids, like?
Well, I mean, dude, I never had that asshole in me to be an asshole to younger kids. You know, I mean, Josh, I'm sure has seen it. We've all seen it. I feel like throughout our career, and it always just felt weird. I treated everyone the same, man. Everyone with respect, and I wanted to be a good role model for everyone, because I was like, when they come up and they have younger guys, I hope they do the same. That was my whole thing.
And that's what I respect, man, is like, I feel like so many people get the idea that like once they get some time under their belt and they're considered a veteran, they have to act like a veteran and treat guys like shit. And like, you got to like, everyone has been a rookie at one point. Everyone's been a little bit uncomfortable. Everyone's been like shut down by an older guy. And you know how shitty that feels. Like, I feel like we need to start changing that dynamic in the clubhouse and make those young. And that's what I saw with Houston, man. Like the very first meeting we had when, in 17, when we had McCann and Beltran in there for the first year, like guys that were, 15 years in the big leagues. And, they just had so much power over a room. They got up in front of everybody and they said, look, like we got a lot of young guys on this team with a lot of talent and not that much experience. So we want you guys to understand that we're here to win games. We're not here to embarrass you. We're not here to make you feel like rookies. We're not here to belittle you guys. He's like, we're here to win ball games. So you guys be who you're going to be. He's like, play with some swagger, play with a little bit of passion, have some respect and understand where you are in the ranks. And like, respect the guys that have put in the time and been here for a while, but be yourselves. Like, we want you guys to play loose and want you to play the best. So whatever you have to do to bring that out, just be ready to play. So I thought that was one of the coolest things I had heard from guys that had been around the game a while, that it wasn't about like making you feel like a rookie. It was about making sure that you were the best player you could be, and whatever you needed to do that, do it.
Yeah, you had no question, Joe, because you had two good ones too, like between McCann and Carlos. I was with Beltran in New York for a little bit. I was kind of in the same situation. I was younger then, and he always made me feel like you could go talk hitting to him. Now I've had other guys in the past where it was brutal. You were scared to death to have a conversation with them. You were dragging their bags off the bus. I mean, it was just, it was hell almost. But
and that's it, man. I mean, like experience trumps everything in the game, man. Like, so having a guy that you can go and talk to, like, it makes it so much easier for you as a young guy trying to get your feet into the into the game.
No, that's true. And I remember in 05 when my first camp ever, I was terrified, or 06. And it was like, everyone looks at you like get the fuck out of here, or move away. And you don't want to get in anybody's way, but it's true. I mean, you should respect the ranking and be, obviously you should know where you're at all times, and not trying to older guys' ways, but at the same time, you're still trying to learn from them. And that's why when I don't feel like I ever reached that status, but younger guys, I was always like, hey, just do this, stay out of this guy's way. I mean, like a dog, you were going to stay away from him, you just do his thing. You weren't going to go ask him questions on game day or anything like that. So you threat lightly. And there was other guys that were completely the opposite of just, hey, whatever you need, here I am, boom. And then it makes you feel way more comfortable and you're not under so much pressure.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. And just the etiquette, having somebody like, I really was like big on trying to grab one of the older guys and just kind of be under his wing and be right next to him at all times. And Morton was like the guy that helped me out a lot. Colin McHugh helped me out a ton. But it was mainly just learning the ropes, like when we're on the bus, when we're on the plane, where do I go? Where do I sit? Do I wait for everyone else to get on and then just take the empty seat? Always double up in the first couple of years. Like, don't ever grab your own empty seat, make sure you got the beers as soon as the flight's over, like all the little things that make you a good rookie. I was just trying to be on top of that stuff and do it before they had to ask me.
Wait, it's a private jet, right? Or it's a private plane. There's so many rows and you have to double up.
I was always taught that way, like double up. And then if there is extra seats after, you can go grab an extra one, but don't sit there and throw your bag on the seat next to you and then clog up the whole row. So
do you feel like that's been lost a little bit nowadays, Joe?
I think so. I've seen it. I saw it a lot with Pittsburgh just because we had so many young guys and like young guys that, were being asked to go out and be regular everyday starters. And, even some guys that hadn't really earned the rights to be acting the way that they were, but they were a starter and they felt like they were, a big leaguer. And you see a lot of guys that, are almost just happy to be in the big leagues, and they've completely lost touch with what it is to actually be a big leaguer. So,
Joe,
I think it is.
Joe, how old are you?
28.
Right, you're sounding like a 38-year-old salty vet right now, man. I love it because Tony's nodding his head like, yeah. And Tony was in camp.
Just saying how it is, bro.
Yeah, that's how it is. Hey, that's how it is. The game is moving and changing. So, like, I was brought up like my first year. It was Gary Sheffield. That was the guy that was on our team, and what Chef said, you did, and that's just how it was. But I was able to learn from that, and there's like that piece of it is leaving. And we talk about it on the show a lot. Like, that's what frustrates me about the game right now more than anything. Well, maybe a couple other things, but that really does.
Yeah, it seems like it used to be about like to be recognized and to be like a guy on the team, you had to be good at playing the game. Like now it's just about who can be the most entertaining and who can be the most flashy and who can, get themselves on the air. Like it seems like that's what guys are like driving for, is like the big defining moment where they can make ESPN or they can be relevant in the conversation without necessarily having to be that good of a ball player.
Right.
It's true.
Yep.
I agree with that.
Happening.
And I love the speed that the game's at, man. Like everyone's playing with some passion and with some energy, but it doesn't feel like authentic at all, like all the time. It seems like guys are like pre-planning these things to like hopefully have the big moment so that they can show off their big bat flip or they can do like the crazy taunting that they've been working on instead of just doing like you're doing your job, man. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, this past weekend, I mean, playing Dodgers, you saw the energy that I mean, I can just imagine if San Diego was at full capacity, how loud that place would be.
Bro, that was so much fun. That was like some of the best baseball I've been around. Just the games, man. I don't think there was more than 10 hits on each side throughout the whole weekend. I mean, it was just dominant pitching. Like it came down to one big swing in every game, one big defensive play in every game. It was some really good baseball.
You'll face them this weekend, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're going to go on a 6-man now. I think because Lamette's coming back on Wednesday tomorrow. And then I think they're going to keep Weathers in the rotation. I thought Weathers looked really good, man. And for being a young guy, like he's got really good like control of his emotion. And, he seems like he's got a slow heartbeat when he's out there, man. He's able to control and contain his energy.
Me and Beto were going back and forth about this. The runner at second base. What's your take on that?
Dude, it's so hard in the game now, especially off those back inning bullpen guys, like to get a guy to second base that late in the game. It is so hard. So I don't like it, but I mean, I understand it is trying to speed the game up, and it will bring games to an end closer, but you've worked so hard to get to that 9th inning and keep the game at what it's at, or you battled back to tie it in the 9th. And then to give a team a start off with a runner at second base, I'd rather just play it how it's always been.
Yeah.
Now, okay. See, I'm saying in the playoffs, don't do that. Regular season, everybody has the same shot. You're forcing the action in the regular season. I'm for it. I used to be like, no. But then all of a sudden it's the 14th.
I can see that.
And you're like,
I can see that. You do save some arms too. I mean, especially going from 60 games to 160, you have a dozen extra inning games where you're running out, into the 13th, 14th inning, you can really tax your arms, I guess. But I don't know, man, baseball, like it's such a long sport, like it's such a long game, and it takes so much to get to that point of the 9th inning where, you can seal up a win or you can blow it. And then to give guys an advantage of having, and I understand both teams get that advantage, but I'm not a fan of it.
I'm a hard no. I'm a real hard no. I only say this because when you talk about like how you construct your rosters and how you construct your bullpens, the teams that are good at that are the ones that win extra inning ball games. Now it doesn't even matter. Now you're right. You go with the back end guy. He gets one crack. Hope he doesn't score. Hope you score. I want to see teams that do a good job constructing their rosters for situations like that. That's why I am like a huge advocate of it not being that.
That's a great point.
But players and people who know baseball are going to say no. People like me who just want to be done with, like, hell yeah, put it up. Like the fans are like, yeah, cool. Because the fans don't know any better. It's like, oh, there's a runner on second. Let me pay attention.
That is true.
Hardcore baseball people, no.
The other thing that pumps me up that you're seeing more of, and I think teams are starting to realize, is guys pitching into the 7th to the 8th inning.
Yeah, man.
That's cool, man. I mean, to me, that's the art of pitching. It's trying to figure out a way to get into the 7th inning without using your bullpen, without getting to your setup guy, getting to your closer, rather than and then it's cool. But then the other side is you're seeing more position players throw more than ever. And I'm like, what is this? I feel like guys don't want to, or teams don't want to burn their bullpen, but it's because you're having your starters go 80 pitches and then they're out of the game. And now you're in a blowout and you have to throw a position player. So to me,
man.
when I see you guys play defense game, like hell yeah, like this
feels good, man. Because like as a starter, I mean, you know what it's like, man. Like you work so hard to get to that opportunity to feel like you finish your outing, you know, and to get pulled when you still feel like you got some in the tank is a frustrating feeling. And I mean, last night, like I don't know if you guys caught any of our game, but Woodruff had like a 30 pitch first inning, and he seemed like he was struggling a bit to find the zone. Had a couple walks, you know, long 30 pitch inning. And then watching how he adjusted and was able to get back in the zone and managed to get through 6 innings in less than 100 pitches. I think that's really important too, is being able to bounce back and get some quick outs.
Dude, that's what I've been like trying to tell people in the group chat. I'm always like, dude, there's nothing wrong with the 25 pitch inning. Like sometimes in the 6th, 7th, and 8th inning, that's when you feel the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you just start finding your groove, you start finding your rhythm, and you're like, boom, 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 boom. You start having those 8, 10 pitch innings.
Yeah.
In the dugout.
And you've gotten to see everybody twice. So you almost have set guys up for that third time around. If you've worked, you know, properly, or if that's something you pay attention to, you know, you can use what you've used in those first 2 at-bats to your advantage to get some quick outs. And yeah, I agree with you, man.
It just, I always say it just allows the guys to get into a flow, right? Between the pitcher and the catcher. When you know you're getting hooked after the 4th or 5th inning, you just say, well, throw all the stuff we've worked on out the window and let's just try to get 3 outs per inning. And we know we're going to get hooked soon, versus like getting into the flow. Hey, a 20 pitch, 25 pitch, first inning, second inning is not a huge deal, because you're kind of getting the ebb and flow of the game. And that's what I am. It is good to see that some teams are doing it. Now, other teams are not. I can assure you of that.
And I feel like a big part of that is you know, the way that the game's going with the analytics and stuff is like not even allowing starting pitchers to see a lineup a third time around, just because statistically they're bad, you know, and that everyone's average, you know, or opponent average goes way up that third time around. So guys aren't even getting a shot. And I feel like I'm just now getting to the point in my career where, you know, and it might just be the fact that I'm with the Padres and they run things a little bit differently, but like I'm getting to the point where I'm finally getting stretched out to like get my 100 plus pitches in. Whereas before, like I had very, very few outings of 100 pitches or like 7 innings even. But now it's like last night after the 6th, I was at like 82 or something, 83. And like walking off the field, like I was kind of expecting him to come shake my hand, and I was going to try to talk my way into it. And he came over, he said, "You got one more?" I said, "Fuck yeah, I got one more." It feels good. And I know you have to kind of earn that too. Like you have to be able to show them that you can still be strong in that 7th inning, and that you're not hanging on by a thread and like running on fumes, just trying to get one more inning in. You know, you got to still have quality stuff in that last inning.
You had
13 Joe, does Larry spearhead that a little bit? Like being a very like well-respected pitching coach that he is, does he have a lot of say in that, or what's the conversation?
So I think the chain there is, you know, Ting will always come over and ask me where I'm at, or he'll ask Larry to come talk to me, and Larry will come say like, how you at, you know, how you feeling, where you at. But I think the guy they rely on the most is Vic. Like they'll go to my catcher and they'll be like,
yeah,
can he keep going? And Vic will be like, his stuff's still good. Like he's still good. Keep him going, you know, or he'll be honest. Like if my shit's fading, he'll be like, he's starting to leave us shit over the middle. He's starting to, you know, pull off on stuff. So he's honest. And like, I trust Vic, you know, more than anybody. So, you know, if he doesn't think that I'm that sharp, unless I feel real good, I'm going to trust him, you know?
Yeah, Tolley's all fired up because catchers know everything, right, Tolley?
Well, almost everything.
Funny story, Joe. Jace Tingler was my center fielder in Dunedin when I first signed.
No shit, was he really?
Yeah, tell him I say hello. And Rod Barajas was my catcher in 09, my rookie year.
Dude, Barajas is one of my favorites in our clubhouse, man.
That
guy's hilarious, man. He's always talking shit to somebody.
Hey Joe, you know that he has so many kids. It's one for each letter of his last name.
Barajas? Yeah.
No shit. Does he have a lot of kids? I haven't even talked to him about that.
Yeah.
Kids.
Oh my God.
Ask him and tell Rodrigo I said what's up too, because I'll tell you, this guy he had to drive a school bus. He had so many kids. This is when he was still playing.
That's heard on.
Yeah.
Give it to him.
Hell yeah. Joe, you had 13 strikeouts last night. You're a Padre fan, all that other stuff growing up. And all of a sudden, how many people are asking for your tickets, or how many people are DMing you? How many people are messaging you?
Dude, it's been really good, actually. I mean, my buddies and like I don't talk to very many people that I grew up with. Like I got a few group of friends from high school that I still stay in touch with. You know, a couple guys I grew up playing ball with that are still in the San Diego area, but all those guys are really good, man. I mean, not one of them's asked me for tickets. None of them asked me for handouts. They've all bought their own tickets, and like, I'll get those guys tickets. You know, if they were to ever come to me, I'd be like, yeah, I'll hook you guys up once in a while. But they've been so good about just, you know, just wanting to support and be there and not really asking me for shit. So
The coolest
I've been
part-
giving more out to like family. Like I got 5 in my family, so I'll get 5 every time I start. My girlfriend will come, my agent. So I'm usually leaving like 6 to 10 tickets every time I start. But other than that, it's been pretty mellow, man.
The coolest part is seeing all the reggae bands that commented on it.
Dude,
That's
all
dope,
of them, man.
dude.
And that community of people, dude, they're so freaking friendly, man, and so down to earth and just normal dudes. You know, it's my relationship with them started through Tribal Seeds. I've been using their song for my walkout music for years. And I've been always like tagging them. Finally, they replied to one of them. And we ended up chatting a little bit. And Gonzo, one of their members of their band, ended up having, I believe he had a cancer scare. So they were holding like a fundraiser for him to like raise some money. So I hit up Tony Ray with Tribal Seeds, and I was like, hey, we want to come out and support and you know, kind of show some love. Do you think you'd have a minute to say what's up? So he set us up with like a section right next to the stage. He had me bring out like 15 buddies. We all sat. He brought over every artist that was there that night to meet me. And then over the years, I've just stayed in touch with those guys, and they're always super friendly. Whenever they're in town, they'll hit me up and leave me tickets for their show. I'll leave them tickets for the game. They'll come down for BP. It's cool. It's exciting for me, man, because like I've been a fan of these guys for so long, and to feel like I know them so well after just, you know, one meeting is cool.
That's cool. Here's some of the shirts they're made. Cousin Dan is making the shirts out there. Say Joe.
Yeah, dude. Dave and his brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
David, but those are like the real friends that are with you right there. And where they at? They got their own tickets. And look, people, where are they? They're in
out
left field.
man.
They're not
They're
family
showing.
section. So it's not that hard to support your own friends, people.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
Yeah.
They've been so good, and they all understand that that's something that I was going to be dealing with, and that's super cool to me that they've all kind of given me some space. I told them I'll hook them up, like I'll just surprise them with tickets for their birthday, or like if there's a big game coming up, I know they want to come out, I'll hook them up. So
I wanted to ask. Oh, go ahead, Josh.
No, I was just saying that. Just like I remember going back to St. Louis to play, and it's like these conversations. But when your friends understand it, and you don't have to like be the asshole and say no all the time, it makes playing at home enjoyable. I'm sure
it does, man. It really does.
Yeah, heck yeah, that's it.
And it's hard, dude, because like I almost have a hard time saying no sometimes, and sometimes you don't even have to ask me. Like they'll be like, hey, you know, who you guys play? You starting this weekend? And like I'll just feel like a need to be like, yeah, man, like you want to come? I'll leave you a ticket. I just can't help but like want to like I want them to be involved, and I want them to feel like, you know, special. So
that's how I was in Toronto, man. That's how I was in Toronto. If the dry cleaner guy was dry cleaning my suits,
yeah, man.
Hey, you want to come to the game tonight? Let me know. Here, leave me your name. I'll leave you tickets. No worries.
Exactly, bro. It makes someone's day, bro. It just feels good.
It really does. It really does. I wanted to kind of dig into this because we have you. Obviously, you threw a no-hitter. Josh caught one. And I just kind of want to dig into the mind a little bit of like, Josh, for you calling a game, is it more nerve-wracking than Joe being on the mound and knowing that he has a no-hitter going? How's that process go?
Well, I would say from a catching standpoint, for me, it's like you don't want to be the guy to let strike 3 go to the backstop and then the next guy gets a hit. Like that's where I felt the nerves more than I mean, I think more than pitching. I don't know. That's probably calling the wrong pitch was not the issue. It was like don't drop the pop fly to extend an inning, or don't run to the backstop to get a ball on your account.
Now, what if you know Johan would have shook off base hit? Would you have given him shit?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, man, that level of trust in your catcher, especially when you're cruising like that, it almost feels like that's just as bad as someone saying you got a no-hitter, someone talking about it is shaking off the catcher. Like things been going so well. Don't fucking don't get too good for yourself and shake them off thinking you got something better. Just fucking trust what you've been doing all game and throw.
Hey,
how many times did you shake off, Joe?
I think maybe twice in the whole game.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Vic will say you never shook off once, or he should say that.
Yeah. Dude, and that's something I tell him about. Like Nola asked me this. Austin Nola asked me in spring training, like, what makes you, or he asked, who's your favorite catcher that you've thrown to, and what about him made him your favorite? Like, what does trust mean to you, like from a catcher? And I described it as like somebody that puts in as much effort as I do when it comes to game planning and understanding the hitters. Like when I do a ton of like video work, I make my own notes. I do all this work preparing on how I want to throw to guys. And I talk to my catcher about it the night before start and then the day of the start. But then when we get out in the game, dude, like I let all that shit go and I trust that me and him are on the same page and that he knows what he's doing. And like, he's the brains, I'm the muscle. You tell me where to put it, I'm going to put it there. And it's just a game of execution for me. I'm not thinking about trying to outsmart the hitter. I'm just hoping that my catcher is as prepared as I am and knowing how to move the ball around, how to change speeds. And then for me, it's just nothing but locked in on pure execution, you know?
That's what's up, man. That's that next
Joe, I love that. I love talking. I love talking this part of the game, especially because where we are with the analytics, right? I mean,
Right.
The first guy to ever show me how to really do a real scouting report really was Rod Barajas. And we talked about like, we were teammates. And now I feel like most people don't even do their own scouting reports. They don't do scouting reports, period. They wait for the analytical people to put it on the wristband, and then you go from there. So the fact that you put the effort in, I think is also what's missing from the game. But I think it goes to your success right now, is that you are prepared and all you can do is execute. And now we're at a different era where it's, well, whatever the wristband tells me to do, that's what I'm going to do. So if there's conviction or not conviction, I don't even care.
You know, and which is super dangerous. And like you said, with the conviction, like,
hell yeah,
when you get out there, for me personally, and I feel like a lot of people feel this way and might not realize they do, but whenever you're out on the mound and I feel like, you know, nervous, or I feel like pressure, I feel like stressed out, it usually becomes because there's a part of me that feels a little bit unprepared. Like I could have done a little bit more. I should have studied a little bit more. When I do my work and I read all these scouting reports, you know, for guys that are starting and bench guys, I've gotten my work in the weight room. I did my running. I did my rehab and prehab stuff for my shoulder. I got everything right. I'm as prepared and as ready as I can possibly be. I feel like I'm more ready than the guy that steps in the box before I even throw a pitch. Like I already feel like I beat him. So a big part of that is the mentality of knowing that I know exactly what I want to do. Now it just comes down to execution. I'm as ready as I can be.
Where did you learn this, Joe? Like, was there a picture that you saw prior to this, like prepare this way, and you were like, man, this is what it takes for me to.
Yeah, Keiko was like really big on that. And I watched him work a lot. And for somebody that didn't have overpowering stuff, it was amazing to me how he could know when to go in, when to go away, when to change speeds, all these things. And he always talked about, you know, knowing what you can use to start off a guy, like what can I use to get ahead of him and get control of the count? You know, where is my least amount of damage done throughout the count, and what can I use to put him away with? You know, and it's kind of like people tell you when you're giving a speech or when you're going to go out and talk to somebody, like know the first thing you want to say and know the last thing you want to say. And that's going to make a smooth, and then the middle kind of just happens and you flow and you go with whatever you have to do. But always knowing how you want to start a guy and how you want to finish a guy. And then the middle, you kind of figure out based on what the hitter tells you and the reactions that he gives you. So that was something I learned a lot from Dallas, but I feel like we talked about the analytics stuff. Like it's dangerous a little bit for guys that are young coming into the game, because now there's like so much information and so much stuff for you to use that, you know, you find yourself, and I found myself doing this, was trying to be 9 different pitchers for every guy in the lineup, you know, trying to create a different game plan to beat, you know, everybody's weakness in the lineup, as opposed to McCann telling me, like, you got to understand and find out who you are as a pitcher. You know, like, what do you do well? What can you execute 8, 9 out of 10 times? You know, what's your bread and butter? What are you going to when you're behind in the count? What are you going to when you need to punch out? You know, understanding who you are as a pitcher. And like the majority of the lineup, the 6, 7 of those guys in the lineup are going to get your best shit. You know, it doesn't matter what they do well, what they don't do well, they're going to get your best stuff. And then there's the outliers like the Mike Trouts, the Miguel Cabreras, you know, the few bangers in each lineup that you might have to pitch a little more carefully, or you might have to take some chances, you know, in different areas. But for the majority, like, your stuff will always trump, and the confidence and conviction you have in it will always trump what someone doesn't do well.
No doubt. And that's the biggest thing is like, man, I wish I could just bottle this conversation up, because it's all about execution. It doesn't matter. It truly does not matter what pitch. And this is Mark Burley made a comment to me one time.
I was just about to say that reminds me of Burley.
Yeah, Burroughs told me one time, he says, hey, no matter what, the sign goes down, I throw the pitch. I says, well, like, what's the thought process? He said, well, I got to execute the pitch. If I don't execute the pitch, it doesn't matter. And that's what I said. You can have all the information in the world you want on wristbands, but the fact of the matter is you got to go out and make the pitch. Right. And having that mindset, especially, you're right, these young kids are going to get left in the dust. I know for a fact they will because of that.
And I think, like you said, like when you focus on just execution being the main goal, the biggest difference for me in my last handful of starts last year and then, leading into this season is, the mental approach that I'm taking. Like I said, it's purely execution. And I'm like internalizing the challenge of like me versus myself. Can I stay at the maximum amount of focus and just worry about execution and not get into the mental match of like, I'm going to overpower this guy, or I'm going to mad dog him. I'm going to intimidate him. I'm going to, try to outsmart him here. I'm just going to fucking execute. And that's all I care about, whatever reactions. I don't care about your big swing and going to a knee. It doesn't matter. I'm going to execute the next pitch. And I'm a really emotional guy when I pitch, man. I get really into it. I get sped up sometimes. So I think switching my mindset off of trying to compete with the guy on the other, 60 feet away, just competing with myself and keeping myself right where I need to be. I know where that sweet spot is for me mentally to be at my best. So
this is what's cool about it too, though, Beto, right here, though. Like you hear Joe talk, and this is a guy who's already established himself as a big league starter, but how long it took him to actually realize, like, okay, this is what I got to be successful. This is what I got to follow. This is the game plan that I got to adjust to. I got to make sure I know myself as a pitcher. And you would think nowadays we have guys who think they have it figured out in high school.
Yeah, man.
Well, my son's the number one rated 9-year-old. He's got it all figured out. Right? His Instagram, he's got 5,000 followers. He won a ring this weekend at USSSA, but he's got it all figured out at 10.
Yeah, and this is where we're at. And not trying to bash anyone or anything, but it's almost like it takes guys a while to get established in the big leagues, even when you're a big leaguer. I mean, for me, it came into fruition in 2011, and that was 2 years in. And I kind of started learning myself and learning my game plan and what I wanted to do, how I was going to prepare. I had Doc Halladay in 2009 kind of watching him, and I'm like, wow, this is what it takes to be this successful. He's on another level. Like, this guy had a notebook full of notes, taking notes on Big Papi. I'm like, why, dude? You already faced him like 150 times, like in your career. He's like, hey, man, those guys are always constantly making adjustments off of me, so I got to be ready.
Absolutely, man.
I can listen to Musgrove and Thole. You guys talk for a while. We're gonna have to do it again soon. But next time, Joe, we're gonna do it live on YouTube, where people are gonna ask you questions and interact with you.
Sweet.
And that'll be really. We'll do it we'll figure out a day where you really have time to breathe, because I know everybody's still asking you for beer right now because you got the free beer.
I'm a beer guy now.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you still
Joe,
go
I'll
through
send you my address.
Yeah, dude, I got you guys. They sent me along with that card for free beer, they sent 44 6-packs. So I'm freaking got beer stacked to the ceiling in my garage.
Well, let me put on another 20 pounds.
We love that.
Hey, and Thole, what do you got on this picture here?
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, I love that. I was just going to ask you where you were.
This hanging in my room since I was probably 8 years old. I got it from Kevin Mitchell, who was a good buddy of my dad's, and he gave this to us. It's signed by all the 86 Mets.
Wow. Wally Backman, he's one of my favorites.
Dude, yeah, it's sweet, man. Doc Gooden up there. Everybody, It's pretty
cool. No way. That's what Mitchell's a San Diego guy, right?
Yes, he gave me this one too of him when he was in
sick.
Tough right there, but
yeah.
I'm in San Fran. I got a bunch of his jerseys and stuff. He was really good to my family and to me growing up.
Mitchell was a stud. Remember he had that one-handed catch?
Oh yeah. That's how I describe him to most people, like, because I always tell stories about him. I'm like, yeah, the guy that made the barehanded catch down. I'm like, oh yeah, I know that guy.
I love it.
Yeah, all right, Joe, we got to get going because this thing's about to cut off. But we'll put this up though. We appreciate it. We'll catch up with you in a couple of weeks where we have a more extended time. Really get into it. Do appreciate it, and dude,
Joe, really appreciate it, man.
World Series champ.
I enjoy talking to you guys.
13 strikeouts, but most importantly for me, a beer for life.
Free beer, baby.
That's what matters.
That's right. Thanks, Joe. That was awesome.
All right, guys. Take care.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good luck. We'll see you.